Welcome to another episode of Car Meet Garage. My name is Don. This is our buddy Steve. As you can obviously tell, this is the one that's going to air right before Christmas, hence the Star Wars tree and my sweet Santa hat, thanks to Steve over here. So I want to get started with Steve because you guys kind of know how this works by now. That we're sitting in your shop right now, and next to two beautiful cars. We got WRX and Grand National. But we'll get to that in just a hot minute. We kind of like to get started about how you kind of got your start in this.
Yeah, for sure. First, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Probably like most people, my dad was into cars when he was growing up in high school. He had a hot rod, you know, and then through his 20s, he had a nice 66 Malibu Super Sport. Proclaimed it was the fastest car in Midland at a few points in time. Big motor. I think he said dual 1150 carburetors on it. It was all motor. Beautiful car. There's some pictures of me sitting on the motor working on it, you know, wrenching on it with him, holding the wrench, I should say. And then from there, you know, kind of got a fix for, you know, cars, I think like most of us have. And that car ended up getting sold later in life, and didn't have anything to really tinker with until I was old enough to buy my own car. And then I got a, you know, an old...
you got the picture back here, yeah.
85 Buick Electra T-Type. Had a transverse hood, so the hood opens like a Corvette would, which made it really impossible to work on since it was a front-wheel drive car. It sucked. Every time I would fix something else would break, but I was determined because that was my car and it was my first car. Worked real hard on it. You know, it took 2 summers by hand sanding it with a garden hose and a block sander with wet sandpaper. Right. You know what I'm saying? And took it down from clear coat all the way down to bare metal. And it was quite
a learning experience. Quite
a learning experience. Right. A lot of mistakes made, absolutely. And it just flourished from there, man.
Nice. So from that we'll kind of roll into what we're looking at in front of us. It's normally reverse. I'm pointing this way in the last episodes, but we're pointing that way.
Yeah, right.
So we'll start off with the Subaru. So what's going on with that thing? Because it is not stock.
No, it is not stock, but I tried to leave it stock appearing.
Yep.
It's a 2006 Subaru Impreza WRX. The 2006-2007 model years were pretty identical, but it was the new image and new engine platform, so to speak, for those 2 model years for Subaru. I was in the Marine Corps in Jacksonville, North Carolina at the time. My wife actually was searching for a car to help replace the Buick, which was and had been on its last leg for a long time. She found that through AAA car buying service, and I didn't know AAA sold cars. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I didn't know that either. Now I know.
No, it was very interesting. I had 47,000 miles on it, 1 owner, very clean, stock. They had 0 modifications to it, and I think they wanted it for 17 grand. And
then you got it, and now we have this.
I got it, and now we have this. Yep. Absolutely.
So what's kind of we'll start from the front and move to the back. What's under the hood?
That is an IAG 1.5 stage 1.5 block. I got a bunch of the paperwork and receipts.
He came prepared, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
No, you're good, dude. Like I like being prepared, so all the information's out there.
Yep. And it's she's all in here. So the trick with that was I usually do all my own work. I've done everything on my cars unless it's something that I absolutely cannot do. Air conditioning service, you know, try to reclaim the air conditioning. We do a vacuum and stuff like that. It started out with simple things, an intake, top mount intercooler, and then put the miles on it, started getting more into the Subaru game, and it eventually turned into an IAG Stage 1 small block. It's got Manley Platinum pistons, the STI case halves, STI connecting rods, the 2012 plus crankshaft, You know, the whole thing, Killer Bee pickup, coil racing radiator, the air pump delete package, a BCP 500 plus turbo package, which is a 20G turbo for the Subaru world. The ID 1050X top feed injectors, speed density tune. I had some fab work done in town by a guy that I know that can do that kind of stuff. And they did a dyno tune and everything, and came out to 351 all-wheel horsepower and 330 foot-pounds of torque.
And we were talking earlier, that was barely leading on at what, 18 PSI, right?
Yeah, that was at 18 PSI, I believe. And very, very conservative because I didn't want to, it's my daily driver. I drive that car every single day, anywhere I need to go. That's my everything car.
Right, and that's pretty good power for a daily driver.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. It puts a smile on my face. Since then, I've done enough stuff to it. I've done the fuel lines to it for E85. So it is a flex fuel capable car. I was able to get all that done before the Cobb Green Speed Act that they started to do, which really limited.
Oh yeah, the EPA stepping in. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, which is whatever, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
Anybody watching these is we already know your opinion on all that with the diesel stuff and with the gas stuff and all that. We already know everybody's opinion on it. I think we all agree with you. Yeah. It's a mess.
It was a mess. They at least could have grandfathered cars in, especially ones that aren't in California.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh no, we all agree with you.
Right. Absolutely.
100%.
So that's the engine's pretty much set from there. I was leaving school from Delta College one night, and I lost third gear. It was a 5-speed. You know, it came with a stock 5-speed.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I'm not just going to fix the 5-speed, which a lot of people consider the glass box of the WRX. You know, so I searched out and found a full 6-speed swap, 6-speed. The chassis, the frame, the subframe for it, the axles, the hubs, the Brembo brake kit, everything. I did everything. Came in on a pallet, cleaned it all up, all new hubs installed. And I noticed
the Brembos when I was sitting here, and we were just kind of sitting in the chairs here. I didn't see it when we were standing behind the camera talking. I didn't see it now, the Brembo brakes. I was like, that's kind of neat. And they're done in gold, which looks really nice on the car, actually.
I really like that look. I do.
Yeah.
Yep. And so the engine was built up, the transmission was built up. I have Silver's Neomax coilovers and all that good stuff. At that time, I wanted to bring the car up a little bit because I thought the rear end was just too low for the things that
daily driving,
for the things I like to do, especially in the snow, because I like to go out and have fun a lot of times, and I want a little bit more clearance.
Doing Subaru stuff.
Yep. So coilovers came on, started to raise them up, decided that I wanted to get some wheel spacers, so I did some research.
Yep.
Did 7mm on the front, 20s in the back to bring out more of a flush look.
Yep.
Because the Subaru wagons, unfortunately, have a very narrow looking rear end. They don't get that flare like the STI had.
One of my favorite things is the wagons. Like, some people don't appreciate a good wagon, and they look really nice.
Absolutely love the wagon.
I love the wagons.
Absolutely love it.
Especially in white. White's like my jam. Anybody who knows me, white's my jam. I love white.
It's a hard color to match or find. It's the Aspen white with 17 years of age and wear.
You know, you get a fender painted, and then you get one random door painted. It looks like a calico, and it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yours doesn't look terrible. It looks like it all matches. It's all one color.
It is all one color. In most spots. It shows its age in other spots, but that's what you expect with a car living in Michigan.
As long as it puts a smile on your face, that's all that matters.
Every single time.
And that is a sign of a good car, because life is absolutely too short to drive boring cars.
Absolutely. That car has never given me a problem, with the exception of the stock engine losing half compression, but it still ran beautifully.
Right.
And then the third gear going out, and that was already on a car that was making more power than
the transmission should have
had anyway.
So now you're good to go for a daily driver for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't switch cars out. I don't like getting something and then having it for a year, then getting a new one.
Right.
I put a lot of time, research, I would say development, but there's not a lot of development. It's just more trying to figure out what parts work.
It's got to be a marine thing because I'm the same way.
Maybe.
I'm a creature of habit.
Yes.
Yeah.
You find what works, what's good, and you go with it.
Yeah.
You know, I like that approach. It has a Cobb turbo back exhaust. It's not the loudest on the planet. It's not the quietest, but I researched them as a company, and they did more research and development on their stuff. The R&D was great. They put a lot of time and money into it. Everything was lined up right. Fitment was perfect. Finish was great. They stood behind their product, and I still love it. I still love it.
And that's the difference of spending more money versus less money, is that fitment. It makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, you can make that $80 exhaust work, but it's not going to sound as good. It's not going to fit as good. It's not going to last as long.
Absolutely. And you might be tightening clamps down that that shouldn't be tightened down that tight, starting to stress other items that shouldn't be stressed, or you're stretching something to fit that shouldn't be stressed that much. And it's a balancing act. I played with different, just on the front air intake, going between Perrin and Cobb, and I believe one other manufacturer, trying to get the aftermath hose and the intake hose to match
and fit proper.
And it fit proper. It was silly because each product is not cheap. Hundreds of dollars for hoses and stuff, especially those hoses, and you're buying 3 of them at a time to try to figure out which one works, and then you're sending them back, and it can be a month of just
frustration.
A month of frustration for a simple one hose connection.
Yep.
But that's also what's, I think, is part of the fun.
Oh, right, because once you finally get the right part to fit right and you're looking, it's like, yeah, that's it. That's what I wanted. It's that feeling.
Then, yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's like golf,
Yeah.
Terrible except for that one awesome shot, and that will bring you back.
And the drinking. If you drink.
Yeah, the 19th hole is the best.
Well, yeah. So, I think we've gotten from front to back on the Subaru.
Yeah.
Let's get into... I like Subarus. I really like Subarus, but I walked in because I was told he's got a Subaru. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do another 4-cylinder, sweet. And I walked in, seen the Grand National. I was like, that's a bucket list car, man. I haven't owned one yet, and I want to. Like, I'm 43. Yeah, something like that. And
nice.
So we're going down the line of right now I'm going through the stuff of getting like cars that I've wanted to own since I was like in my 20s.
Yeah.
And Grand National is on that list. And then I walked in and I was like, oh, he's got a Grand National up. It's a Grand National. It's probably leaking oil like they all do. And it's probably broken. And I looked under the hood and I was like, damn. So let's talk about the damn that I'm talking about, because that is a beautiful Series 1 3800 under the hood of that car.
Yeah, that was, ironically, another car my wife found. And a week later, after she saw it, it was in the driveway, because I was not going to pass up seeing that for sale for such a good price.
Unless you find that, did you find it here in Michigan?
I did not. I found that in Virginia when I was still in the Marine Corps station at Quantico.
Okay.
So it was on the side of the road, at a small auto for sale lot, and it had a couple El Caminos, the Grand National. It was under a carport, but it still had snow on the bumpers because the car is so long and it sticks out so far that you really couldn't protect it all the way. That's what they get to those G bodies.
Yep. Love a G body.
So 3.8 liter V6, iron block, iron heads. Like you mentioned, they all leak oil. Turbo Buicks are notorious for leaking oil. Even just sitting there, they leak oil. When I got it, it had, I believe, 87,000 miles on it, and it looked like it had 150,000 in the engine bay. It was just dirty, did not look good at all. The outside of the car was great. It had been repainted once, no big deal, but it still shined, and it was gorgeous. It drove, heat, AC, everything. I started tearing into it because I wanted to make it look a little nicer, get some new shiny parts on it, make a little bit more power, because I was new to the car, you know, and but not new to cars.
Right.
So I started digging into what is what, where to go, who's the best place to shop, and the best place to get knowledge for.
Because it's super tasteful. Everything about that car right now is super tasteful. So I got to commend you on that.
Thank you.
Sometimes you see those cars and they are just totally done. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. If you like it, you like it. But like, I like my opinion, and my opinion matters to me. And my opinion, I think, matters to you too, because that's exactly how I would have done it too.
Yeah. Black car, so I wanted to keep everything black.
Right.
The gentleman that had it before me had some things on there that I didn't approve of.
Right.
And, you know, everybody's different taste, like you just mentioned. So some of that came off, got some new parts, got them all powder coated black. Headers got powder coated black, but with a ceramic coating. The downpipe, same thing. Try to retain the heat inside and not let it bleed out into the motor. Rebuilt it 3 times.
In true Grand National fashion.
Things that I could do. It was the first time I had actually taken a motor apart and put it back together. And when I dropped that oil pan and I was laying under that car the first time, just staring up at the bottom rotating assembly, I really couldn't believe how simple of a machine it is.
Yeah.
It was honestly a shocking and an awakening experience to just to sit there and watch, visualize how it operates, and be like, that is so simple, and yet extremely complicated and hard to work on.
So, I'm going to get this wrong. They're 86, 87, 88, right?
You're very close. Very close.
Because I know some are intercooled and some aren't intercooled.
That's right. 84 and 85 are non-intercooled.
Okay.
We call them hot air cars.
Yep.
Makes sense. 86 and 87, basically identical. And those were the intercooled cars.
And what year's your car?
That's an 87. That's the last year they were made. Yep.
So intercooled car, yeah.
And that car has T-tops, which cuts it down in half for production numbers again.
Right. So listen, Mike, who in the 80s when you're buying a car wasn't buying a T-top car? That was the thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they twist a lot more.
Yeah.
And with the poor paint and the non-stiffening that they would put into the frames, when you would tweak those up, the rear fenders would crinkle just from the twist and the torque of the car.
So much torque, the chassis twisted coming off the line.
So it shuffles a little harder.
Yes, it does. That G-body shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they weren't as sought after for guys that wanted to tweak them.
That's fair enough. It's the same pretty much in any community, because it's well established I do F-body stuff, and if you're going to go fast, hard top cars.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
You know, there's probably less drag across the smooth roof than there is across the roof with 2 panes of glass and
yep, and it's a lot stronger, they say.
Rain deflectors. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So what's in that for the transmission? Those came with a 204R?
That is correct, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Like I told you, I like Grand Nationals.
Yeah, right? I mean, who doesn't? Really, who doesn't? It's a great car.
Yep.
That's a 200 automatic, and that was shifting, like, again, I mentioned a 150,000 mile car. That's how that felt when it shifted. So I didn't want to replace the transmission with a new transmission. I wanted to take that transmission and have it rebuilt internally, just like the motor, to keep the tradition of the car alive and keep everything matching.
Right, because good luck trying to find a 200 case.
It's not easy. It's out there, just like,
right.
You know, if you want to try to find something special, there's a shop for it, but you're going to pay for it. So the shop that I found is Extreme Automatics.
Okay.
A gentleman named Lonnie runs that outfit, and he rebuilt that engine to his stage 2 specifications, which included a whole list of parts. I would have to refer to the notes to really get into all that. And I was in Virginia when I had that done, and I drove down to North Carolina to drop it off. And I dropped it off, and about 6 weeks later, he called me to let me know it was done. And I drove down so excited that I got a speeding ticket.
You know how fast you were going?
Car parts are ready. Come get them.
Right.
You know?
And excitement's real.
Oh, it was real. And
especially in a car like that.
Yep, absolutely. Got it back. broke it in. I mean, it was pretty much, he told me they break them in at the track. I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm sure it's probably fine.
That seems pretty common for North Carolina because there's a lot of tracks in North Carolina.
There are a lot of tracks in North Carolina.
Because that's where the NASCAR, like they call it NASCAR lane and stuff, is down in North Carolina.
Oh yeah, definitely big down there.
Sorry, I sidetracked you a little bit.
No, you're fine. You got to be careful sidetracking me.
I know.
Sidetrack.
Right.
So yeah, it's a built transmission. It'll hold, I think, 650 horsepower, 600 torque. Like I said, it's his stage 2 package. Got a matching Revolution X converter. It's a 9-inch lockup converter, 3200 stall. And that paired up with the engine build. Makes great power right now. Dynoed at 370. And that was before the modifications that I've been doing over the...
That's currently going on right now.
Yeah, before it pulled it apart and had it sent it back down to get resealed because of the oil leak. I wanted to, make it better. It dynoed on their machine at 370 at the wheels.
Nice. So is that like kind of where you're happy at with that car? Or what's your goal on that?
That's great. Like, it woke the car up. It came out of the factory.
I do my magic fingers here.
Yeah, magic fingers.
Right.
The witchcraft hasn't really started yet on that car.
I should go like this.
But we're getting there, right?
So what's your power goal for it?
Power goal is over 600 at the wheels.
I like where your head's at.
I want 100 horsepower per cylinder in my vehicles. I think that's an obtainable goal.
That's obtainable.
They always mention there's a joke, and now I just brain farted upon it. Reliability.
Fast, reliable, or cheap pick 2.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Once you got started, I was like,
there it is. Absolutely. I chose all 3.
It can happen in a G body, I think, especially in a Grand National.
It can happen in any car if you're dedicated to it.
Is that got, because those came factored with an 18G turbo, right?
The Buick?
Yeah. I know I'm wrong on that, but I took a shot in the dark.
I don't know.
Because I could have sworn those came with the Mitsubishi 18G. We'll fact check it.
And that stock turbo was replaced very early on in getting the car because it was leaking real bad, and I had a great trade-in offer for hard-to-find turbo cores.
Right, and they're hard to find turbo cores.
They were hard to find turbo cores. So that got swapped out for a bigger 66 millimeter turbo.
Okay.
And then, unfortunately, that turbo did not last long, and that is due to my lack of knowledge.
Oil feed or oil drain problem?
It was not oil related.
No?
No. You still need to hook up your lines for the wastegate.
Oh, overboosted it?
Yes.
Yep.
So there wasn't a line from the boost controller back to the compressor side. So I don't know how many pounds that will produce.
All of it.
Well, yeah, it definitely gave all of it because it was blowing my intake T-clamps off. And I was not quite sure why. But the car sounded good when I floored it.
Bet you it did.
My gosh, it would blow the tires off at 35, 45 miles an hour. No problem. I'm sure most cars will when you're feeding it 35, 40 pounds. No big deal. Second time it blew it off, it ruined my hood liner, which is not easy to find.
No. Not
easy to find. Very expensive. And that was very, very... That broke my heart, and then I started seeking out, why is it doing this?
Right, because if you don't know, under the G bodies, they're not just a black headliner. They say like Buick, Turbo Buick, and then they have the Grand National symbol on the inside. So if you have the same heart like I do, Steve has, you want to put that one back on it because it's the appropriate cover for that car, and they look gorgeous.
They do, and they're very hard to find.
Obviously, you found one because I'm looking at it.
Unfortunately, no.
You cleaned it?
Nope. Yes, it was cleaned off, but that still shows the burn mark from where that up pipe blew off, and all that charged air was said hello to the hood liner.
You have that on the big jobs.
Yeah, we'll have that on.
That's a real big job with no wastegate control in your boost.
Yep.
But what are you gonna do? So did you replace the turbo or fix the wastegate?
I fixed my mistake by researching more about boost controllers and wastegate lines and that turbo and everything. Things don't come with instructions at this level.
No.
You know, you buy a turbocharger, they don't come with instructions on how to install it. They figure you know this stuff if you're buying one.
Right, it's a steep learning curve.
It's a very steep learning curve, and when you don't know, you don't know. And that's how you learn, and I've made countless mistakes on that car and with the Subaru, you know, and sometimes that mistake will stay, and sometimes you can go back and fix that mistake.
Whereas whether you learn your lesson on the first mistake or the second mistake or the third mistake, you always try to learn it on the first mistake because you get to that third one, it gets really expensive.
Mm-hmm. I learned a lesson real fast about transmissions when I tried to take one apart and put it back together.
Oh, dude, it's voodoo.
I left that alone.
Yep.
And I will always hire that out.
Right, I know people, my transmission guys that are friends say transmissions aren't that complicated. I was like, yeah, but there's so much stuff in them, and I'm like, that's just a lot of voodoo. There's valves and pumps and 100 different ball bearings in a valve body, and I can go to some friends that know exactly what every single ball bearing does, and I'm like, that's sweet, dude, cool, just build my transmission. Like,
absolutely. No, great for you. I appreciate your enthusiasm. How much
right,
I owe you.
right, yeah, just send me the bill. 600 horsepower in that Grand National is going to be a lot of fun.
It will be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, where I sit right now with the new injectors I just got, and I just installed all new fuel lines from Racetronics, a new Hellcat single pump 525 liter.
It's a good pump.
It's
good injectors.
Very good pump, very good injectors. New hanger, a lot of new parts. I'll be maxed out with those injectors at 580.
So what are you using for tuning on that car? Because I did see a little magical box under there, the math translator, and I love those.
Yeah,
things.
a little math translator. That is certified horsepower in a box.
That is certified horsepower in a box.
That is just a small part of the puzzle. That's an EEPROM ECM car.
Okay.
So there's small little computer chips that you have to literally plug into the ECM.
If you socket it in,
and there's a company called Turbo Tweak. A gentleman named Eric Marshall runs that, and he provides the best chips and injector combos for these cars that you will find. And not just these cars, but the Cyclone and Typhoon as well.
I love those things. That's one of my bucket list cars.
Yeah.
I see Greg back there shaking his head too. Like,
pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Absolutely.
Because we have a gorgeous one, Typhoon, that shows up to the meets, right? Cyclone. Yep. Sorry if you're watching this. I know the difference between the two, but I forget what. Yeah. So, but those are. I want one of those too.
Absolutely. Those are all-wheel drive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Those are awesome. Turbocharged 4.3 liter. Gotta love those things.
Yes, sir. Nothing wrong with that at all, though.
Yeah, I love those things. Sorry, we got to pause here because I'm just like thinking in my head and just imagine myself driving one of those things. I kind of went off my own little planet for a second. Like, man, right. Typhoon and Cyclone, they're so fun.
They are fun.
Not as much fun as that Grand National. I love a G body. That's the best of everything.
It's a lot of fun. It really is. A lot of fun. You know, again, it's another car that puts a smile on my face every time I turn that.
And that's all that matters with cars. If it puts a smile on your face, it doesn't matter what you have. If everybody hates it, it doesn't matter. No. As long as you're happy with it.
If you're happy, then that's what matters.
Right.
You know? A lot of people will hate on all sorts of things. I get hate because there's no longer heat and AC in that car. I was trying to go to a heat-only situation, so I removed a bunch of stuff, and it ended up I removed too much stuff.
Had an oops moment.
And the things I removed, I couldn't get back unless I found another car. Ironically, it's just a G-body insert for the HVAC, but I didn't know at the time, and I didn't really want to go looking. So my heat-only plate went to a no HVAC at all plate. It gained a lot of work room in the vehicle.
It's a cleaner look under the hood.
It looks very clean under the hood. I very much like that, but I miss the defroster.
And that's not a car you're driving when it's crappy outside anyways.
Nope, that car does not see rain. It hasn't seen snow. It likes the cold fall weather. And then
dense air.
that's where the defroster likes to come in. But,
Yeah.
you know, I make do. Just give the windows crack a little bit.
Still be far the cold weather.
It's very fun in the cold
Right,
weather.
give the towel wet and the windshield.
Oh, I've done that many times. I actually carry a small blanket that I'll put over my lap when I drive. I feel like an old man, but I don't care.
Right.
The feeling I get when I drive my cars is indescribable. It's therapy for me. It really is therapy for me. Just like working on them. I love it.
Right, and it's the same for, I think, a lot of us that are all car enthusiasts, that the cars are therapeutic, especially like cars like this that, you know, we were just talking about creature of habit, that we like to keep certain cars around, and driving the car that you're working on from nothing to something, it's even more therapeutic, because it's like, you think about it a lot more when you're driving. At least I do. I think about it a lot more when I'm driving. Like, oh man, I installed that part. How's it working?
Yeah.
But then driving, and when everything's functioning properly, it's just relaxing. I do it all day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There really is, in my opinion, no greater joy than taking something you built and enjoying it.
That is 100%
The
correct.
first time like I was saying, I rebuilt that motor. I unfortunately put the cam sensor in backwards. There's a 50-50 chance on that with these cars. And it didn't start up, and I was heartbroken. I was like, shit, what did I do wrong? Went inside, thought about it, came back out, did some research, found out that there's a 50-50 on that, turned it around, fired right up.
It's a great feeling, ain't it?
Could not have been happier.
Yeah.
That was something I've never done, and I put it back together, and I only had one issue, and it was because of that one thing. I had no slip-ups, though, the entire time.
It'll get you every time on little mistakes like that. But as long as they're little and not expensive.
Absolutely. But that came later. That little mistake that turned out to be expensive.
Well, talking about the wastegate thing?
Nope, that was something else.
Oh.
I did not know that you can't run a stock tensioner with a double row timing chain on that car. In my research, I did not see that note. And I was wondering why my first oil changes, the oil was so black. And it's because of that plastic presser foot rubbing itself out on that didn't sound right, on the chain. And eventually that presser foot was gone, and just cruising along, the metal part of that tensioner hit the chain, snapped the chain, went down, wrapped itself up around the crank, and it blew out. Broke, timing chain broke, wrapped up in a nice little ball in the bottom, and it broke the front timing cover and dented the oil pan lip completely. Ooh, 45-degree angle down.
That one gets expensive.
That was expensive. That is a $12 part that caused $600 in damage.
Yeah, but you'll get that sometimes. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
It was not fun, you know.
No.
And again, it was just driving. Wasn't even hot rodding around. Went out to dinner. I was turning a corner, and the car just shut off. Did not make a single noise. Just shut off completely.
You know, it seems like that's the way that always works too. Like, you're out there beating the tar out of your cars, and everything works properly, and you're going out to dinner with the wife, and all of a sudden, yeah, it's broke.
Right? There's a tick. Wait,
Did you make her push it, or did you push it?
What's that?
Did you make her push it?
Oh, absolutely not. No. I got enough momentum. I got off. It was unfortunate. It was on the overpass going over I-95.
Oh, okay.
But I called a tow truck, and he was able to quick tow us to a parking lot and then reset up and secure the car down. I was less than a mile away from the house, and that's...
At least it wasn't an expensive tow then.
It was.
Oh, well.
It was.
Dang.
It was a Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, that'll get you every time.
Yeah, that got me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if Sandra wanted to drive a car, it would be a Grand National. 100%.
Yeah.
Actually, technically, because he likes trying to be a T-type, because you can get a T-type in red, right?
Yeah, you can get a T-type.
Right.
Yep.
Grand Nationals are only black.
They only came in black.
Yeah.
Well, they tell you that they came in 7 colors. They were all black.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the slogans back then.
And it works, because
yeah.
it's the right color for that car.
They also said the bulge in the hood will give you a lump in your throat.
Is that why I have a lump in my throat right now?
Possibly.
That could be it.
You haven't even seen the bulge in that, though. That sounded bad, too.
That sounded really bad. It's okay. We'll leave it. Your power goal for the Grand National is 600
at the wheels.
and
yep.
you're damn near there at the
very close with the Subaru.
Subaru.
I want over 400 at the wheels, obviously. I don't know its power on E85, but I know it was 350 at the wheels on 93.
93.
Prior to ever doing E85 and the fuel upgrades.
Right. So you're running stock ECU, or is it ECU or PCM? Are different manufacturers call different things for different years?
For the Subaru, it's all stock except for the Cobb access port.
Okay.
The Pro Dyno Tune from.
Now, does your stock computer in that self-adjust for E85, or do you got to make a change in that, or do you got to
Nope, the tune
will automatically pick it up?
automatically made that change, and then I have the controller and the E85 sensor and everything for that.
They're just two neat builds.
They're very different animals.
Right, because you never, they're like almost, I don't want to call them polar opposite because they really aren't, but I wasn't even fully expecting to walk into built-ass Subaru and a built-ass friggin' Grand National, and I'm like just in awe right now because they are two very absolutely cool cars, and they're right in my taste level. I love it.
Well, thank you.
But so, is there any social media that people can follow you on the builds? Because I know I want to follow because I absolutely love Subarus, especially the WRX, especially in a wagon.
Yeah, right.
And I absolutely love Grand Nationals, and I want to see how the build goes and what's your social media so people can follow you on that.
Sure, yeah. I don't have any social media other than Facebook, and I'm not on there very often, unfortunately.
Well, you need to change that, dude, because I'm telling you, I want to see how those are going. Unless you're texting me pictures or something all the time of it, I want to see where they go. You should definitely not saying live on Facebook like some people do, and I'm guilty of it too, but you definitely need to keep people updated because they're two very cool builds, because especially if you're going to go 400 horsepower in the Subaru, I know people make more than that, I get that, but still that's super respectable for a street car. You literally daily drive. It's your daily driver.
Absolutely. So everything in it works. I've never had check engine lights, unless it was something stupid like stalling out, or I used to have a big stereo in the back, and that would sometimes make battery issues, small things like that, but never had a problem with that car, like I said, other than compression in one cylinder and the glass box 5-speed, which
it's all corrected.
As you gain power, those are expected things to break.
To fail, right.
How many people joke about Subaru ringlands?
Oh, a lot.
Standard joke.
Yep.
5-speed is a glass box. Standard joke. People say you can put blast plates on them and make them stronger. Just get a 6-speed. Once and done.
Yeah. It's what they say, buy once, cry once.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But yeah, they're both incredible cars. I keep saying that, but it's true. And I'm 100% sure that during this, Greg's going to post pictures in the edit of these things, and because they are both incredible. Because the Subaru's in super nice shape, especially for being a daily driver in Michigan.
Yeah, that's tough.
So how long have you owned the Subaru?
I got the Subaru in February of 2008.
So you've had that for a long time. And what year did you get the Grand National?
That was February of 2011.
Nice, totally similar.
So
we'll call them their birthdays.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So I'm hoping to get a new car maybe February.
What do you want?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
It's hard.
You got the wife shop?
It's hard to get a newer car that you can also do performance stuff to with what I want it for.
Right. You looking for another daily driver, or are you going to look for another fun car?
Both. That's what I wanted in the Subaru, and I got it. And that's a very hard thing to do. You want something fun,
yes,
fast, reliable, and at that time I wanted it somewhat small, but still had a little bit of space.
You can look for something.
Perfect.
Look, you got 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder. The next one's got to be a V8.
I don't know, maybe.
It's got to be. It
I
goes
like
in order.
I don't know. I like turbos. So
you can get a turbo V8. I have a turbo V8.
Do you daily that turbo V8?
I could, but I don't want to.
See, there's the dilemma.
You could. Audi makes a turbo V8. I'm a problem solver.
No offense to anybody, I don't want an Audi. Or Audi, or however you want to say it.
There's a lot of people that don't like Audis.
And that's cool.
That's fair,
I
that's fair.
still
That's your
love
cup of tea, that's your cup of tea,
some of
but-
their cars, though.
Right.
They had they had a wagon that had a V8 in it, like an S5 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I'm not up and up on my Audis.
No idea. It was a small wagon that had a V8. Gorgeous car. Gorgeous car.
Right, Greg, anything? Turbo V8? You have a turbo V8?
I got a turbo V8.
And he's going to daily it. Be good if you wanted. Problem solver, dude.
Problem solved. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Well, that's hard to do.
But people's tastes are different people's tastes.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
We can only press so much.
I don't want to get rid of either of these cars. Well, I'm never going to get rid of the Buick, and I really don't want to get rid of the Subaru. So that's why I'm trying to clean up the shop a little bit so I can.
Right, you got room right here.
I can almost fit 3 cars.
Let's do this. What should he get? In the comment section,
should I get?
what's he gonna get?
I like
Suggestions.
turbos.
He likes turbos, daily driver, something that's
I
fun.
wouldn't mind an SUV.
Ooh, that opens up a whole level of
But
fun.
if I wanted to get an SUV, I want to be able to lower it just a little bit.
Trackhawk. I got to drive one of those, dude, and let me tell you, the Jeep Trackhawk. I am not a Mopar guy.
I also want to keep the payment below a mortgage payment.
Ooh,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Gotta think smart about these things nowadays.
SRT Cherokee with a blower on it. You could daily. I actually have a friend who's got one. He dailies it. That's his daily driver.
I might be in the car.
And we actually got a guy in the group who can build it for you.
Hey,
Yeah.
now we're talking.
Shout out to Larry Durrett.
There it is. This is why we come together. You know,
Right.
This is how we network and link people up that have different ideas, different aspirations, and that's pretty much the whole reason, in my opinion, for getting together with people of the same ambitions.
Yeah, dude. Like the car community. Like, I know we're sitting in Midland right now, and you do come to the Bay City stuff, but our community in Bay City, we're super good about that, like helping each other out. Like I know you were just over at helping Rich with his Ranger build.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which that's funny you brought that up, because I
our V8 truck.
still think that it was only posted that he needed help with a hood and a transmission. I don't remember ever reading about the engine removal, which was a surprise.
It was a trap.
It was a trap. It was an absolute trap. I had no problem staying there and helping out. It was,
Yeah.
I had a great time.
Rich is a good guy, too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't catch that fine print.
The fine print always gets you. I mean, we're both in the Marine Corps. Fine print always gets you.
Fine print always gets you. It's one of those things.
Which seems super helpful and stuff, and a great part of our group. Although you live in Midland, I'm kind of glad you're coming around to our stuff.
Yeah,
you're a
I have
huge
no problem
asset,
going over
man.
to Bay City. I got a buddy that lives in Bay City on the water.
Yep.
He works over here at the power plant, so I go over there and hang out there a lot of times, and
Yeah, and you have a hell of a collection. I really want to thank you for inviting us into your garage. And it's no offense to you or anybody else. I was not expecting when Greg says we have an interview, because I wasn't really familiar with you. And we walked in, it's like, oh, he's a fellow Marine. I said, that's awesome. And then we walk in, it's a built Subaru and the Grand National, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to be here for a minute. Sorry, honey, we're here for a minute.
Yeah, unfortunate. You got to get your ducks in a row for this one.
Oh, yeah, dude. And I love doing these and learn about other people's stuff, too. And I know they do, too, watching. And I do appreciate you coming out and doing the Christmas episode with us, although we weren't very jingly, and we do have a tree, though, so that makes the Christmas episode.
It was last minute, but hey, it's here.
Right, it's here. It's Star Wars, and Star Wars is awesome. But, dude, thank you so much for having us here. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Semper Fi, brother.
Semper Fi.
And tune in for the next one.
Thanks, guys.